We are living in a world where everyone is searching for everything, trying to get help, trying to get ahead, trying to hear a good word, but they are not mentioning God. They are going to wizards, they are going to people who read poems, they're talking about now the new thing, like I said, speaking to the universe instead of speaking to God. God is the one that owns the universe. Why not say speak to God? Right. But we want to replace everything, every word except God, using God. Because once you start using the name God, there's power in his name, there's deliverance in his name, and there's healing. See, the word God is going to do something to you. See, once you start opening up to God and letting him in, there is a change that's going to take place with you. There is, if you're sick, that word God, he's the great healer. He will heal you. He will give you peace if you use God. But we are going, the reason why so many people, I find so many people are discouraged today and have lack of faith. And lack of faith means not believing in God. And they need, they're searching for everybody to help them, everybody to go with them. But you're going to have to learn how to stand with God alone. You got to learn to stand on faith alone. Because you know what? Your friends ain't going to have it. Your mommy ain't going to have it. Daddy ain't going to have it. You got to stand with God alone. You can't get everybody to go with you. Everybody ain't going to believe you. Everybody ain't going to have faith like you. Sometimes it's just got to be you and God. When God tell you something, you just got to believe God and go on faith. Are you with me with this thing? Now somebody say he's going to set it up, and then he's going to preach to me a little bit. Now the word of God, we read the scriptures, and it came from Judges the 4th chapter, verse 1 through 9. And it was talked about the Israelites, that they did evil again in the eyesight of God, which they always did evil in the eyesight of God. Chosen people. It's so good that we got a merciful God. Huh?
Thank you, Lord.
Yes, Lord.
And this time, God gave them up into the hands of Jabin. He gave them up to the king of the Canaanites. And he had a commander named Sisera. And he had I want you to hear this, he had 900 iron chariots. And in other words, those chariots was like tanks, army tanks today in our military. These chariots had razor wheels on them. They had their wheels, they had razor knives on them. So when they charged down, the abiding army, what it would do, those razors would chop them down. It would kill them. Sometimes they'd have 2 horses, sometimes they'd have 1. They had knives in their wheels. Now, after 20 years of unbearable circumstances, the Israelites finally cried out to the Lord for help. And I want to stay there for a minute. It's something how we get caught up into pain. And when we are so far away from God, this is the dilemma when you are so far away from God that you don't even know how to come back to the Lord. You find the reason why so many people are in pain, and you saying, how did you stay in pain that long? Because when you get away from God, you forget about God. You forget about there's a great healer. You forget about I don't have to be here. 20 years, you finally think about it. I need to call on God. See, when you have a relationship with God, see, I'm so used to calling on God, I call on God, just calling on him. God, 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 God. Because I understand I can't control this thing.
That's right.
But God can. See, I'm not going to be in pain no more than I have to be in pain. I'm going to call, when I can't fix it, God, God, God. But you get so far away, caught up in this world and caught up in this mess, and that's what the devil does. He gets you so tied up in your ears. He gets you so far away from God that you think this is the way it's got to be. Some people think that I'm supposed to be in this situation. Some people think I'm supposed to be abused and misused. Some people think that there's no other way, but this is the way. They're caught up in their pain, and they're not calling on God to deliver them. You have a God that can deliver you from anything that you're going through. Nothing is too hard for God.
Amen.
It took them 20 years when God should have been the first one, the first person that they turned to. When they're facing a dilemma or in some kind of struggle, God was the one. But the Israelites chose to go their own way. To go their own, and that's how we get into so many mess. When we decide to go our own way, to do it ourselves. Listen to me, life itself brings hardships.
Yes.
Life itself, you can just be just doing nothing. It's not a car. You know, since the son's on the car accident, Thursday night when we was at prayer, my dear sister called me. I was in counseling with a couple, and my sister called me, and I can say because her son is all right. Life called on the phone. I'm up there getting the counseling, and she called and said, my son have been in a motorcycle accident. This mother was frantic. She didn't know was her son going to live or die. That's life just coming at you.
Yep. Yep.
We prayed, God bless, her son is fine. Praise God. I talked to him later. But this is what I'm trying to tell you about life. Life's going to bring its own challenge. You walking around, you just get sick. That's life. But when you start choosing to go your own route without God, you get into all kinds of mess. You bring the same thing that the Israelites brought on themselves when they left God. We bring trouble to ourselves. I'm gonna get you up in a minute. See, when you go your own route, you end up waking up with somebody that you don't know. I knew I was going to get some noise up in here when I said that. Somebody woke up this morning with somebody they didn't know. Instead of reading their holy word last night, you was doing. Somebody say, man. See, I'm not here to sugarcoat nothing. That's what's wrong with the church today. They are sugarcoating and being politically correct, and people are a mess. Because you want to get up here and speak fancy words, and then you're slipping in the darkness. I've been a part of that foolishness. Being undercover saint. Knowing that if I die, I'm going straight to hell. Because somebody want to dress it up. Whenever we go out from the outside of God, we bring other things up on us other than life. Other than life itself. Trying to control our own lives without God, without His help. That leads us to struggle, confusion, doubt, fear. You don't know if God can do it because you're so far away. But I'm doubting God. You know why you're doubting God? Because you don't know God. If you knew the promises of God, and if you knew the things that the devil said to you and the promises of God, you would never mention the devil. It's this many promises and this many things by the devil. But we focus on this many things by the devil because we don't know God. Great is He that is in me than he that is in the world. You got to get some of this in you to know the promise of God. You want God, but you don't want to read about it. But you go out and buy Oprah book and you read it from the front to the back, don't you? When we think we can control ourselves, we don't want God to have no control of us. See, when we stay with God, we are less likely to create painful circumstances for ourselves. When we stay with God, listen to me, it's a lot of people don't understand, and I'm not going to preach it, that they think that, man, if I give my life to the Lord, and this is one of the biggest lies by the devil, if I totally surrender to God, that all of a sudden I'm going to miss something. The only thing you're going to miss is what's trying to hurt you.
That's right.
That's the biggest lie by the devil. Listen to me. And this morning, see, this wasn't in my sermon, but the Lord spoke to me this morning when I was getting ready to come here. And He showed me a vision of some of you ladies. Some of you ladies, I'm going to give you a word. Somebody say, He better give it to me. Now, some of you didn't know, and God, the thing about it, you didn't know because all you saw was what you have been taught, just like some men. We've been taught to have more than one woman. We don't know better until we get in the Lord. The Lord, the one makes a man of God. So I understand when you don't know. But I have saw some of you had been women's of the night. What I'm talking about, waking up with folk you didn't know. And you thought it was a way of life. You thought this is the way it's supposed to be. But I saw some of you for a minute shut the gates up and say, Lord, I'm going to follow you. I saw the transformation of the sin leave you. I saw the darkness. I saw the devil. And I saw you walking upright. I saw you start to transform into a woman of God. I saw. Because once you start following God, he changes you. I don't care what you've done. See, I don't worry about what somebody say about me. You can say what you want. I only think about what God thinks about this man. I just told you I smoked. If I cared about you thinking about it, I wouldn't have told you. I don't care what you think. I'm a God's pleaser. Somebody say amen. But I saw some of you. I said I did smoke. I didn't say I smoked. I was telling you God delivered me from that, and he can do it to you. Now, I seen some of you being transformed by the Holy Spirit. And then some of you was made it. But the one that didn't make it, it wasn't because God wasn't doing it. You got afraid of success. Wow. Because you had been in a situation of winning, and you wasn't used to that, and you got scared. And you went back. And I know when you went back, because you came back with that same old darkness on you. Wow. You came back not happy anymore. You had a smile on your face, but your spirit was unhappy. And it wasn't because God left you. You got afraid of winning. You got to get used to getting your victory. You got to get used to when your ship come in, you get on your ship. Now some of you asking God, I want a husband. Get it right with God. God is not going to give a wife a husband to a prostitute. I know you want to think that, huh? I know that's what you want to think. He's not going to do that. He's going to change the prostitute into a wife. He's going to change that. But some of you want to be prostitutes and want a husband. It's not going to happen. Why God going to do that to a man of God? Right. How about you so you say, I ain't on the street selling it. Well, you should, because you ain't getting nothing for it. Somebody say that. You're a pro prostitute. You're a pitiful prostitute. Listen to me. You got afraid to feel decent. You got afraid to feel worthy. Fear came in you. When your ship come in, it's time to receive. I just used that. I said the Spirit of the Lord gave me that this morning. But I can use a lot of other examples of people being afraid. There's so much fear out here today because the lack of knowing God and having a relationship with God. And I said what I said about women because it's so many women are sitting around wanting to have a husband. And all of these churches, every church you go to, is more women in there than there is men. And I'm telling you how to get God to bless you. When you start walking with the Lord, don't stop. Keep walking. Enjoy the journey. Don't you know in life how many spirits you pick up dealing with people? Let him get them spirits off you. Amen. Some of y'all came in here looking at me like I took your money, now you smiled, and some of them spirits done fell off. Ain't never saw me in your life. I don't know you. I was at home reading my Bible last night. What was you doing? Coming in looking at me like that. That's the devil. That's spirits. People tell me, well, let's mood swing. No, society put words to it. Don't they dress it up? They got mood swing. No, that's devil swing. That ain't no mood swing. No, that ain't no mood swing. I'm sick of people putting words to it. They just in a mood swing. But let me get to it. Isaiah 26:3 says what? I will keep thee what? Some of y'all should know it. I will keep you in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on thee. See, as long as your mind is not on God, you ain't going to have no peace. You're not going to get it from the world. Everything you need is going to come from God. Well, what you talking about, Pastor? Just go around thinking about God? No, think about his word, his promise. Instead of thinking negative, why don't you think about how God said he's going to bless you? God said he's going to bless you going in, he's going to bless you going out. Why you won't say God? Why don't you think about God saying, I come that you have life and life more abundantly? Why you think negative? Why you always thinking negative? Because it's more devil in you than God. See, God don't talk negative. He talks about blessing you.
Amen.
And that's why we don't have no peace. The peace comes from God's word. Look at somebody and say the peace comes from God's word.
Peace comes from God's word.
Now the Bible said they had a prophetess there named Deborah. And she was helping the Israelites out when they didn't have a king, and she would help them to resolve their differences and their dispute. And Deborah sent for Barak, a military general. And she said to him, this is what she said, I want you to hear. The Lord commanded you to take 10,000 men of Naphtali and Zebulun and go to Mount Tabor, and I would lure Sisera, the commander of Javan army, with all of his charge, with all of his troops, with all of his razors, swords, and knife. I will give him unto your hands. Y'all not here. God knew what he had. He said, all your troops, everything he's got. I know he got a big army. I know the circumstances look big for you. But I will give that unto your hand. You see, this was his moment. This was that general's moment. This is what all generals of any army hope for. In other words, his ship had came in. See, if he'd have did this, his name would have been among the great. We wouldn't be reading about what we're reading about him if he would have did what God said. This was his time to be successful. Deborah told Barak that God would be with you in battle. That's the only security you need. You see, I done had folk that said they're going to be with me, and they wasn't there for me. You didn't love some of y'all been laid off from your job, and I got your back, and you called in line was busy. Or I'm going to help you out here, and you ain't heard from them no more. But God, when God tell you something, I'm going to be with you. That's the confidence of all confidence. That's if you know God. That's if you have a relationship with God. That's if you have a partnership with God. But if you ain't been doing that, you're going to be boo-hooing, crying, worrying. When God say he's with you, man, you should be jumping for joy. She told him, God say he'll be with you in battle. But that was not enough for Barak. He said, I won't go unless you go with me. She said, your blessing will go to a woman if you don't go. See, he was looking at other things. He was looking at the troops. He was looking at the chariots. See, Barak had more faith in human strength than in God, than in the promises of God. I just told you, see, y'all missed that. I just say a lot of time when you get people that's negative, they know more about the devil than they know about God. Because folk that know about God talks about the promises of God. Folks that negative always bring up what the devil is going to do. See, this man, he didn't have no confidence in God. He told him, if you go with me, he had confidence in man. Which man will lie to you and man will fail you. Instead of focusing on the promise of God. See, real faith means stepping out on God's command. When God tells you to do something, you don't hesitate. And I don't care how it look, I'm going, Lord. See, real faith means stepping out with God alone. Barak had no faith in God, and he chose the people over God. Barak had more fear in him than God. The Bible says in 2 Timothy 1:7, it says this, for God did not give us the spirit of what?
Fear.
Come on. But of power, love. God didn't give us that spirit. If the God didn't give us that spirit, who gave it to us? If you fear, don't well, I'm fearing, that ain't of God. When you got to step out with God alone. And we are living in some demonic times. We're living in some bad, I don't know if you know it or not, because some folks just done accepted this. This is the times and this is the way it is. No, this ain't the way it is. You done got caught up. It ain't normal for a man, a president, to get on TV and pick at handicapped people. That ain't normal. See, y'all scared. I'm not scared. It ain't normal. It ain't normal the world we're living in today. You got to quit fearing, because we got a God that's coming back here that's going to straighten this mess out. We got to stand with God alone. Now, don't you know when the judgment comes? Let me tell you something. I know some people that don't even know the Lord. They think in the judgment they're going to be standing with their wives and all that. Don't you know the Bible tell you that ain't no marriage and giving a marriage? That person you married to ain't going to be thinking about you. You think that. And they there standing in the judgment, and you there standing in heaven over here and hell back here. I'm just saying this. And you think if the angels look in the book of life and tell you you're going to hell, you think your spouse going to say, well, honey, we bound together. They're going to step on in and leave you right there. And you're going to hear that song, let's just kiss and say goodbye. They're going to leave you. Nobody's going to hell for you.
That's right.
I love my wife, but listen, she better pray right now. She better call on God right now. We could go together and be holding hands. You're going to see me turn them hands loose. Sister Rocky, you going to hell? Excuse me. I'm going to act like I don't even know her. I don't know her. I ain't know she going to do the same. Because we have a relationship with God, and we understand you got to stand with God for yourself.
Yes.
You got to learn how to lean on God in spite of your situation. The doctor can't, listen to me, you can go to the hospital all you want. They can give you medicine that can help you. You know, medicine is not made to heal you. It's made to, to make you feel better. But sometimes they run out of medicine that can't make you feel better. So now if you don't know Dr. Jesus, who do you turn to then? Who do you turn to? You just die. But the people that can stand with God alone, I understand what you say, Doc. That's what you say. I'm finna go? No, I'm finna outlive you.
That's right.
Because I'm finna stand with my Lord. We have to say, so I got one clap. Somebody, that's all right. All I need is one. That's why I say the world is talking negative. But the people who look at the promises of God, and it ain't very many, because there's a lot of people out here that don't know God, that's living in fear. And that's not being successful. You sit around and say, listen to me. The world is not designed to be bad all the time. A lot of you have made it bad for yourself. I'm not beating up, I'm trying to open your eyes up. Do it. I'm from the South. It rains all the time now. You can be in New Orleans fishing and just start showering on you. Don't go home because it's going to stop in 2 seconds. Shh, you just wet. You run and get in the car, you drive, you just stay there and just fish. Don't worry about it. In the sun, right? It's cloudy and everything. Storm right in front. Pow, pow. Then the sun right up. You're sweating. That's how it is. What it say? It don't rain always. The sun comes out.
Yes.
Trials ain't always on you. Your blessing is going to come. Your blessing is going to come. Wait a minute. Your blessing's coming. But what are you going to do when your blessing comes? Are you going to be ready to seize the moment? Like Barak. His blessing is there, but he can't receive his blessing because he's looking at other things other than God's blessing. Other So then what God told, when God tells you something, listen to me, people. When God tells you something, God already knows your circumstances. God already knows the dilemma that's come before you. God ain't worried about that. Don't you be worried about it.
Right.
He didn't tell Barak, look, I'm giving you this blessing, but they got about 900 cherubs, and God didn't mention that to him. He told him, man, I'm going to give them to your hand. Yes. Now, you ain't got no business going out there looking at that. Yes. Forget about how many men. God saying you finna be delivered into my hand. Yes. Yes. If a house is mine, if God says mine, Mr. Williams, it's $2 million, it's mine. That's right. God says he's going to deliver it in my hands. Yes. I'm not going to worry about how I'm going to get. That's how you have to have with faith with God. You saying, Pastor, no, that's not true. Well, no, I'm going by. When God told Noah to build an ark, and none of them folk believed him, his neighbors who had been around him all his life, y'all read them stories like this ain't real life. That man, neighbor, was looking at him like he was crazy. Yeah. And even though his children did what he said, they were kind of looking at him. It ain't never rained. And they just knocking, all their friends checking him out. Look, Noah, they done went crazy. This woman said, my poor husband, I love him. I took an oath, but he's crazy. But he stayed with God. Yes. And he did what God said. And even though it looked like something, it looked like he was crazy. Folks, if you want to trust God, you got to be crazy for God. Because God may tell you to do some things. God may tell you to do some things that other folks can't comprehend. See, they may come and try to tell you to do things negative or try to bring negativities because they don't have enough faith to believe what God is telling you. And they'll tell you crazy. So have crazy faith when it comes to God. Have crazy faith. That's what Noah had to have. Noah had to have crazy faith. It ain't never rained, but I'm going to trust God. All my neighbors done turned against me. I got to go with this alone. God is going to prevail. Now, God blessed him, and he got in the ark, and God took him to his blessing. What are your ark going to take you? Are you going to build your ark? Are you going to trust God? Praise the Lord. What is God telling you to build? What is God trying to take you? But you looking at it and saying, I'm not going to go. God, if I'm not going to go. If you don't go with me, I'm not going. I can't accept my blessing. Your shifting came in. Your healing came in. I'm not going to accept my healing because of what some doctor said. Your blessing come. I get so tired of people lying on God like God brought you to this world and he don't bless you. Your blessing came, baby, but you was busy doing something else. Your blessing came, but you refused it. Wow. It don't rain always. The world is not, God didn't build the world that way. It rains to cool the world off. The sun is there to dry it off. Some days the sun shines. So he's not going to give the earth a blessing and not give you a blessing. It ain't raining on you. You ain't having trials every day. But you probably hear stuff. You're speaking it. I'm not going to feel good today. I'm going to have a cold. My back going to be hurting. I can tell. I got a headache. I'm going to have diabetes because my mama had diabetes. I'm going to cuss you out because my daddy cussed you out. I'm going to be alcoholic because my uncle was alcoholic. I've been hearing it all my life. You speaking this foolishness on yourself. Then you take it to your children. You ain't going to be nothing because your daddy wasn't nothing. I don't care what your daddy been to, you're going to be great. That's right. You're going to be great. That's the way we have to look at things. And we got to learn to walk out like Noah did. We got to, when things are over us, that's shouting, that's trying to stop us from going forward. And look, you know, when all Israel run, when they run and hide, you take a slingshot and say, you know what? And they may not understand you with that little slingshot. It looks crazy, don't it? When God allowed that man to do that, he knew it was going to look crazy. But God is trying to tell you what I can do. He's trying to set an example. That is just an example for you that whatever standing over you, I'll bring it down. Yeah. I'll bring it down. If sickness standing over you, I'll bring it down. Yeah. If somebody's trying to hold you from progressing, I'll bring it down. If you need to get to the other side, you're going to get there. Don't worry about how to get there. I told you belong over there. It's coming down. Now I'm going to take this little pebble here, and it don't make sense. When all the other armies is hiding and saying, and they doing the crucifix, this boy finna die. But I know it's finna come down. See, that's when you trust in God. Now look, I'm a hunter. I hunt. You know, every year I go and hunt venison. I can go out there and get a slingshot, hit one of them deers. Them deer's gonna get a rock and hit me back. Are you with me? But if I got God with me, and I truly had enough faith, I could take it and hit him and kill him. That's if I got that kind of faith. See, it was not the pebble. It was God's hand with that pebble that brought it down. God told that man, listen to me. You go up there and I will deliver him into your hand. In other words, it ain't nothing you gonna do. Right. He was telling him, I got this. All I need you to do is to have the courage to march up there. That's all I need you to do. Just march up there and see my work, not your work. And then you're going to know I am God. I can change the situation. See, sometimes we want things to change. First thing we have to do is change ourselves. I see people all the time come to me, Pastor, I want sister so-and-so to change. Change yourself. Yes. Yes. It's easy work getting people into the Lord if you change. Amen. How you want somebody to come and serve a God when you won't serve him? That's right. You cussing folk out and you go to church? Come go to church with you and you cussing like a sailor? Right. What God is you serving? I'm not, you messed up than I am. Change have to take place within you. Faith have to take place within you. Your relationship, God, have to take place with you. You got to get to know God. I see some folk, they come to church. Man, when they come to church, they just have a come, move your hand, boy. He's my son, I can talk to him like that. I'm like, move your hand, boy. But I see some folk come to church, and they just have a conversation. They just be talking. And they know when they was at home, they ain't picked up no Bible. They know they ain't been on their knees. This is the only place and then when they come here, they want to take advantage of that. What are you talking about? You ain't talking about God. What are you? I want to know. But when it comes, when the devil hits you, you're crying and boo-hooing. You know why? Because you ain't got a chance to know God. When you get to know God, you trust God, folks. Yes. Yes. That's the time we're living in. You got to stand alone. I'm just giving you what he's giving me. You're going to have to learn to stand alone like Noah. Yeah. You're going to have to stand alone like David did. And when the devil tried to give you other options, Saul tried to give him his equipment. Look, you take this equipment. It ain't working for you. Right. You hiding and you want to give me something that ain't working? Quit taking stuff from the devil. You want to be successful. You got to, he said, no, David told me, I love the way he said, no, you know what? I don't think I'm going to take your sword. It's a good fit, but I'm going to leave it alone. I kind of remember my God when I was at my father's house, and when the bears would come, I would take a club. I'm a young boy, but I understand it wasn't me. I'd take a club when they run out of his lamb, and I'd beat him upside the head, and I'd kill that lion or that bear. Yeah. How can a normal human being, give me a towel, how can a normal human being kill a bear? Yeah. See, sometimes you got to remember what God has done for you in the past. See, if you have been used to standing with God alone, when those trying times come, you will be able to walk with God. But if you don't have that partnership with the Lord, and you don't know him, and you done got so far away, when those trials come, when your blessing come, you're going to have to walk away and turn away from it and say, I ain't going if you don't go with me. Your ship meaning came in and left. It's time for God's people to start receiving their blessing.
Yes, yes, yes.
It's time for God's people to receive God's promises. It's people walking around here, I'm telling you, they walk around here miserable. I mean, they won't smile. They just frown at you and look at you like you done something wrong. And God didn't make you to look like that. I don't care what, well, that's just the way I am. You're a lie. A baby even smiles. When you get a baby, you take a baby, Google get a baby. Baby, you ain't never taught a baby to smile. And a baby just naturally smiling. They just smile and light you up. No, you done let the devil took your smile. That's what you done. You into something you ain't got no business. That's why you're frowning. Somebody better, I'm going to touch somebody up in here. Oh, this is just the way I am. No, I'm in deep thought. What you thinking about that's got you frowning like that? If it was something good, you'd be smiling. Look, this is how you, when you're in deep thought, it's something good.
That's right.
That's how you do that. But when the devil done took you, like, and then you start walking, talking to yourself. I don't know what. And then people looking at you, and then you stop and look and see they looking at you. Now you got to see. That's deep thought. And some of y'all be doing it, just talking to yourself. It done got to the point now, it just happened anyway. You be in the line talking to yourself. And you realize folk talking, that's worry. That ain't no smile. Because now, what done happened? You're giving away your blessing. Don't turn away from your blessing. Your ship is coming in. Don't turn away from your blessing. Don't, look, that general had been praying for that all his life. He had been waiting for that all his life. And he had to turn it down because of his lack of faith. See, this was the Israelites. These were people that was chosen by God. And if anybody should have known God, it shouldn't have been these people. Yes. But it don't matter if you come in the church, if you don't. A lot of people come in the church and don't know God. Right. There's a lot of people walking around with Bibles and don't know what's in it. Yeah. Because you come in this building, that don't mean nothing. If you don't take the time out to get to know your Creator and the promises that He has for you, there's millions of blessings for God's people. And it ain't too late today. This day, you can start receiving your blessing. Quit turning down your blessing. And when she said that your blessing is going to go to a woman, it wasn't putting a woman out there. It could have went to a man. It could go in. Don't give your blessing to nobody. Get your blessing. Receive your blessing. You ain't got no blessing to give away. Somebody say amen. Yes. Don't be afraid. Let me give you one scripture and we're going to go. Are y'all getting this thing? Yes. James. When you ask God something, James 1, verse 6 and 7. Read it, John. When you ask God for something, listen to me. You can't be afraid. You got to receive it. You can't let your blessing go no more. The more you know God, you'll know the promises of God. God has so many promises for you. If you're not living that promise, it's not because God don't have it. It's because you're not listening to what He's saying. See, God can't lie. He can't lie to you. That's right. See, sometimes you compromise. You got to stop compromising.
Yes, right.
You don't even know the power. You don't even know how powerful you are. This brain that you got, oh my God, it's fascinating.
Thank you, Lord.
You don't even know who you are until you try God. You don't even know how intelligent you are. You don't know how ambitious you are. You don't know how confident you are. Until you have walk on faith with God and get to know God. And once you get to know God, you will ask God in faith for anything, and you won't doubt. But if you don't know God, you ask Him, and then you doubt. I know plenty of people come up here and pray and go right back to their seat worrying. I can tell I'm spiritual. I'm not one of these. I'm a spiritual pastor. I have the discernment. I know right now, I can come and touch somebody right now who's listening to me and know I'm telling the truth, and it's in the Bible, and they don't believe nothing I'm saying. It's not because they think I'm lying. It's because they are spiritually dead because they don't know God. And they are afraid to believe God. The devil got them afraid. And when they ask, they are afraid to receive. And he's got them being afraid to walk out of the darkness into God's light. They get halfway. I see it all the time. I can't bring you there. You can't go on my faith. You got to go on your faith. All I can do is preach it. You can't go on my faith. I can preach it to you, and I see it, and it hurts me as a pastor. I see them get halfway, and then they go right back. And every year, they're getting older and older and older and older, and you ain't going to be able to do it too much longer.
Right.
Because what you was trying to do, you're too old now. You're going to be...
Wow. Wow.
You ain't going to be able to shake it, shake it. It ain't going to be nothing to shake. It's going to be falling, falling, falling. So quit trying to shake it, shake it, shake it, and walk upright for the Lord and get it.
Yes.
I think some of you guys can look at me and tell I got a little weight on me, right? You can see I don't like half or nothing. I'm not going to eat. If I'm going to eat a cake, I ain't eating half. If you're going to bring me a piece of chicken, I want the leg and the thigh. If you bring me a thigh, the leg missing, I'm going to tell you, go back and get the leg. Some of y'all are compromising. You just want a slice when you should have the whole thing. I'm not telling you to go out and eat a cake and have this. I'm not telling you to do that. But I'm saying quit cheating yourself.
Yes.
Quit compromising yourself. Quit compromising for that when you can have the whole thing.
Yes.
You can have what God promised you.
Thank you, Lord.
Quit taking pieces.
Yes.
I don't want nothing piece. God don't piece us. God gives us everything we desire. He say, if your desires is with my desire. See, your desire should be with God's desires. And he'll give you, he don't piece you. You piecing it because you're afraid to go all the way with God. Let God have his will and his way and see what he can do for you. You keep doing your will. Every year you do your thing. You control yourself. And what have you got? Don't tell me. I want you to leave out of this place today and think about it. I've been controlling this. What have I got? I'm in the same place that I was 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I have not elevated because I keep going halfway and I stop because my ship come in and I can't go on it alone. And until you go with God alone, you will not receive your blessing. You got to learn to walk with God for yourself.
Yes.
Read that scripture. When you ask God, read it. I'm going to close. Play some music.
But when he asks, he must believe and not doubt.
Listen. When he asks, when you ask God for something, you must believe and not doubt. Now, how do y'all believe? You got to trust. You got to know me. You ain't going to believe God if you don't. See, when you don't believe God, that means you don't trust him. Folk, it means you're not spending enough time with the Lord. You ain't having no prayer in your house. You ain't having no worship in your house. You ain't got that place. It's just the truth. When you're praying, you don't believe, the Bible wouldn't tell you that. It says, if that was the truth, he wouldn't say it. He say, when he asks, what did he say, John?
He must believe and not doubt.
He must believe and not doubt. So what is that saying? So many of us asking, but we're doubting. Because he wouldn't have put that. So when you ask, you got to know who I am so you won't doubt. You got to spend some time with me. You got to walk with me and know who I am. If you know I won't lie to you, you know I won't leave or forsake you, you know the prayers of the righteous avail much, you know I'll be there for you. You won't doubt. All you'll be busy doing is asking. Receiving your blessing. You ain't got no time for doubt. You'll be too busy receiving your blessing. Because if what you're asking, if it's lined up with God, he's going to bless you. God just don't bless you with anything. It's got to be lined up. He don't give you nothing that's going to hurt you now. Some of y'all so messed up, you be asking for crazy stuff. Y'all know. Y'all be asking God for stuff. I be praying for you. I know I be, Lord, don't give them that. They don't know better. Help them. They don't even want that. Let it go. Keep going.
Because he who doubts,
listen, this is serious. The
It's
only
like
way you, wait a minute, John, don't you run with that. I ain't gonna see them for next week, and I just want to give them this. Just wait just a few minutes. Just ignore your stomach that growls for just a few more minutes. Now let's go back over that.
Because he who doubts
He who doubts. Come on.
is like a wave of the sea.
It's confusing. It's going backwards and forwards. I have a boat. Doc, we was on my boat. The waves go like this. It goes backwards and forwards. It don't get nowhere. It's just all out of order. You ain't getting nothing. You're going toss and fro. You're going here. 1 minute I believe. 1 minute I don't believe. 1 minute I believe. You ain't getting nothing. You asking something and then you doubt. That don't make no sense. That don't make no sense. You come up here, you put on your nice clothes, your perfume, you come up to the boat. Jesus Christ died so you can come to the altar. The veil was split. It ain't no more holy room. You can come here. You ain't got to put no animal up there. You can come boldly before the throne and say, Father, I confess, Father, I need this. He made it through the cross that you can come. But now when you come, you won't even ask. And when you ask, you don't believe. That doesn't make sense. If you're going to ask, believe what you're asking. Some of you in an apartment, listen to me. Ain't nothing wrong with an apartment. Ain't nothing wrong with it. But if that ain't where you're supposed to be, get out of it. If that ain't, look, man, listen. If that ain't where you're supposed to be, get out of it. Ain't nothing wrong with an apartment. Nothing wrong with it. Some of you riding around in a car that's putting smoke. That might not be what God wants you. You too scared that you scared pop, pop, pop. You scared that God for a good car. Why don't you say, Lord, I'm tired of this smoke. I'm gonna believe you're gonna bless me to get a new car. And don't doubt. And you'll be rolling up your look, Pastor. Look, Pastor. Look what God done. Have your little music on. Come on now. Listen to me. If you think I'm lying, listen, I'm not here to impress. Who been with me? Raise your hand. Who been with me? Everything I asked God for, have He did it?
Yes.
In front of your face?
Yes.
And I don't get paid here. But God got it on account of 1,000 years. The whole world belongs to God. And see, when I ask God for something, this $1 million church we gonna get, I ain't got no $1 million, but we on our way, ain't we? We on our way. And you know what? Now this sister, I don't know when you come back, but I don't know when you're gonna come back, but you may come back and you may step up in the big new church. If not, we're gonna be getting ready. But you know what that's on? And I ain't got no 100,000 members, but that's faith. That's faith. I ain't scared to go alone and believe God. I'm in the church already. Y'all don't even know it. I'm preaching in the church already. I'm standing right here. I'm on TV right there. I see it. It's up here. That's faith. Doing it before it happened. Seeing it before it happened. I'm already there. I'm walking down the stairs. That's faith. And I'm not doubting. I don't care what nobody said. They said I wasn't going to be open 6 months. 18 years. I'm not afraid to walk out alone. The person walked right up that aisle when I finished preaching and told me, you speak well, but you won't be open 6 months. Now, either two things I was going to do. Listen at that person or go out on faith with what God says. That person was designed to do what they do. God could have stopped that person, but God was not. God wanted to see what I was going to do when I'm faced with trials and tribulation. What I did is walk right behind that person and went on and did what I did. 18 years later. That's what faith feels, stepping out alone. Read it, John. You ask and don't doubt. If you do doubt, it's like a wave. Nothing is going to happen. No more doubt today. No more doubt. You receive your blessing. It's coming. The sun, the rain stopping. Today your blessing is coming. Don't let it get by you. You receive it today. Whatever it is, you receive it. No more letting it go. No more letting the dreams go. Come on, John, read it.
That man shall not think he will receive anything.
That man who doubt, don't let him think he receive anything. That's just how much God is against doubt. He don't like you. God don't like you going backwards and forth. He don't like that. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know. Lord, I want to do this. God don't like it.
Right.
Have a God say either you be hot or cold. Be one. Ain't no middle ways. If you're going to be a non-believer, stay on the non-believer side. Quit jumping over here. I'm going to believe, Lord, and then jump back over there. God don't fool with that mess. Go all the way. What it says, John?
He is a double-minded man, unstable in all he does.
A man like that and a woman like that, that's doubts like that, you're unstable in your relationship, on your job. You're unstable in everything you do. You always end up in some mess. You're always getting into trouble because you ain't stable.
Right.
It's just the truth. If you ask and believe it, and I'm going to say this and I'm going to close. Once you start receiving the blessings from God, you get so greedy, you want more and more and more and more.
Yes.
Let me tell you something. I'm going to close. When I was smoking cigarettes, years ago, when I was a young man, years ago, I was smoking cigarettes. And a lot of folks smoke today, and they be having to get these patches and things to put on them. Since that time, they got patches and things they put on, nicotine patches, and you get shots and all this stuff. Man, and cigarettes is addicted. It gets in your blood. Just like alcohol, it gets in your blood. And you see, when nicotine get in your blood, and I'm just using that. I'm using that to tell you about faith. Whatever your thing is, you use what you use it. But it was in your blood. And that's hard, because when you eat, you want to smoke them things. I remember, you go to the restroom, you want to smoke. When you get around a crowd of people, you want to smoke. When you get nervous, you want, and it used to be annoying. I remember I got tired, man. I said, I get sick of trying to smoke every time I look around. And then, you be around some folks, and then see people that smoke, they don't know other folks smell your smoke. You be washing your hand off, that stuff be in your head and your suit. And you acting like you holding it down, you smell like a cigar factory. But I got tired of that, and I just gave it to the Lord. And my mentor, who's dead now, he told me, man, he used to tell me, man, bro, we get that to the Lord, man. Just trust the Lord. And I got tired. I said, I'm going to trust God with this one. I said, Lord, take this taste out of my mouth. I'm tired of it. At that time, I think they cost y'all about $7 now. Lord have mercy, Jesus Christ. I don't see how you have it. You got to have 2 jobs just to smoke. Back then, I think it was $1.50. I don't know. But I asked the Lord to take that taste out of my mouth. And I woke up one day, I'm telling you, it was gone. And what I'm saying is, when I learned how I can get the victory through Jesus Christ, I took that victory and I put it to this. I said, Lord, if you can take that, you can take this, you can take that, you can take that, you can take this. Then when I said, God can take all that, I said, Lord, I want to go in this business. See, if God's powerful enough to take that out of my body, He's powerful enough to open up doors. I went to the bank and said, look, I want to open up this business back in New Orleans. I want to open up this business. The bank told me, you need collateral and all that. I said, well, Lord, I ain't got no collateral, but you have everything. All of a sudden, I went into the business. You understand?
Yes.
You learn that you depend on God for everything that you do. And that's all I'm saying to you folks. Quit being a loser. You are created in God's image. You are a winner.
Yes.
Don't let you, like that general, don't let your blessing pass up.
Yes.
His name is put down. We reading about him, and you know what we're reading about? His name is a coward. We could have read that book in Judges and talked about that general. We could have been talking about how heroic he was, how strong, but he's a coward.
Yes, he was.
He didn't have no faith, and that's going to be the rest of until Jesus comes. He's wrote down as a coward. Don't you let your legacy be as a coward.
Yes.
And it's only because he wouldn't trust God. Trust God. Right now, stand on your feet. And I want you right now, I want you to see what God has promised you. I want you to see it right now. Those who are looking at me, I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to see the promises that God has promised you.